Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the HODLNOTS Weekly Warm-Up. I'm John.
And I'm Vicky.
Let's get into the news at 9 AM UTC, where it's currently 6 o'clock in the morning somewhere, at least. All right, let's jump and start having a look at some of these crypto headlines over the last couple of days, and they've been a big couple of days. To start off with a little bit of a sad story, and that's you might have heard of
Yeah.
this Welsh engineer who's been scouring through and sorting through the trash and the dumpster fire that is losing that hard drive. So, James Howells, a Welsh IT engineer, has finally ended his 12-year search for that hard drive that was containing at least 8,000 Bitcoin. They unfortunately discarded in a Newport landfill back in 2013. Not good news for the give up because after a long journey, it's no longer feasible. The hard drive, now valued at approximately $950 million, still remains uncovered due to a number of legal and environmental challenges. House has pursued recovery through lawsuits and other efforts, but these have finally been deemed unsuccessful. Shucks. All right, moving on. Vix.
Heartbreaking, heartbreaking. But you know who does not have to worry about losing their crypto anymore, unfortunately, as well, are the Chinese. So China has tightened financial control, and crypto is now fully banned. So the Chinese government has issued a sweeping ban on cryptocurrency assets. In addition to the previous prohibitions on trading and mining activities, China has now officially outlawed private ownership of digital currencies such as Bitcoin. So this latest move was supported by global crypto exchange Binance, which we all know, and is seen as a significant escalation of China's stringent policies toward digital asset industries. Now, however, we are currently verifying this story. I don't know if you've seen it along in the news lately or in the last couple of days, but other sources say that this is fake news. So we are going to verify this and it will be continued next week.
Fantastic, thank you. All right, speaking about something a little bit more bullish than that, you have heard and seen some of the news over the last couple of weeks around the SEC in the United States. The SEC's bullish pivot marks America's digital finance shakeup. All right, a few days ago, July 31st, the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, Chairman Paul Atkins gave a 30-minute speech in which he outlined the SEC's plans to improve the regulatory climate surrounding cryptocurrency industry or the cryptocurrency industry significantly. All right, good news for the states, good news globally as more countries start to look at their crypto regulations. Named Project Crypto, it will facilitate a number of things such as encouraging entrepreneurs to work in the US, supporting tokenization trends, and paving the way for inclusion of US citizens being able to participate in airdrops and ICOs. Very bullish. So we're seeing a little bit of a shift, seeing a bit of change in the tone and the trend of things. Good things coming our way.
It's about time for all our US members as well that they're possibly, hopefully, going to be able to participate more in crypto again. And also, actually, coming out of the US, crypto basically wobbled into August as Trump announced new tariffs, triggering risk-off sentiment. So the crypto market slid last Friday after President Donald Trump unveiled his modified reciprocal tariffs on a dozen of countries. This move came after President Trump issued new tariffs ranging from between 10% and 41%, triggering worries about increasing inflation and the Federal Reserve's ability to increase interest rates, or sorry, cut interest rates, the other way, cut interest rates. In periods of broad-based de-risking, crypto tends to get hit as investors pull out of the most speculative and volatile assets. So technical resilience and institutional demand for Bitcoin, though, are helping support their prices. So even though the US is doing that, all the institutions which we've been talking about lately with the ETFs have been propping it up. So that's good news for us.
Absolutely. Lots of demand for Bitcoin and Ether or Ethereum. You guys have seen, we have spoken about in the past, and we're not going to be mentioning today the number of Bitcoin that have been bought up by strategy, etc., etc. But there is a further news story coming up right shortly around Ethereum. But first, sticking with what's happened in the last couple of days, especially about July heading into August, as we get into the second semester, second half of the year, there was the CME gap. All right. So you guys might know about it, Chicago Mercantile Exchange. We talk about that. And Bitcoin did indeed fill that July CME gap almost to the dollar amid potentially $104,000 Bitcoin price target, which is not really a good thing that we want to see. We'll be talking a little bit more about Bitcoin and supports in the section after the crypto news. But for the moment, the Bitcoin price weakness has outpaced stocks on fresh US trade tariffs, as mentioned above, and Bitcoin traders are split over the impact of whether that CME gap filled near 114,000 is a good thing or a bad thing. So Bitcoin has sealed, unfortunately, another multi-week low, this time filling a July gap in the CME's Bitcoin futures market. But traders are holding these mixed views. Where are we going to go next? Well, the good thing is if there's a dip, buy it. If you don't know what's happening and you like, oh, okay, my long-term position, don't know where we're going. Oh, scalp trade it maybe. All right, not Bitcoin, but other alts as we see what's happening. We'll be looking at the Bitcoin dominance shortly as well. But we have seen, unfortunately, which is slightly different from normal, that the US trade tariffs have appeared to impact Bitcoin and the crypto market more than US stocks. All right, we've always known that gold is a real safe haven when it comes to assets, and the shift towards Bitcoin generally has been more aligned with that. But unfortunately, with the recent news around the tariffs, there has been that dip and it has affected Bitcoin. So moving on from that, Vicky, let's talk about one of the other large ones.
Happy birthday, Ethereum. Fire safety prevents me from lighting the candle, but here we go. So, studio rules. But Ethereum turned 10 years old on July 30th. So, Ethereum celebrated its 10-year anniversary last Wednesday with renewed institutional momentum, fueling hopes that Ether could challenge its all-time high that was set way back in November 2021. So, just a little bit of history about Ethereum. So in 2013, a white paper, which is basically a blueprint for Ethereum, 19-year-old, so the 19-year-old Vitalik Buterin, who is the creator of Ethereum, originally proposed a decentralized platform, envisioning it to be capable of more than Bitcoin's limited scripting. He purposely writ a script to challenge Bitcoin at that point. And that was way back in 2013 at 19. So the project was developed by a team of 8 co-founders, funded through a 2014 ICO, so initial coin offering, that raised over $18 million US. So the network's mainnet, originally dubbed Frontier, originally launched on July 30th, 2015, as a programmable blockchain capable of executing smart contracts. And we all know since it's grown to become the second largest cryptocurrency by market cap. So in 10 years, there's been a lot of things happening at Ethereum. So happy birthday, Ethereum. Well done.
Absolutely. We like a bit of competition. It's good for the market as a whole. Sticking with Ethereum, now we've been speaking about ETFs, we've been speaking about Bitcoin ETFs, and we've been speaking about Bitcoin accumulation by the likes of Metaplanet, Semler Scientific, Strategy, BlackRock, etc., right? Let's get into Ethereum and who's accumulating Ethereum. Some of you might have seen the Trump World W Finance, that consortium, accumulating a lot of Ethereum last week. But SharpLink, you might not have heard about, but you will be hearing more about. SharpLink has added $54 million worth of Ethereum during this recent dip, expanding their holdings of Ethereum to a value of $1.65 billion. SharpLink Gaming, it's an online marketing and gaming company focusing on the sports betting and iGaming or e-gaming industry, has purchased another $54 million worth of Ethereum. According to on-chain data, the purchases were split across multiple transactions, with the largest single transaction totaling around 6,914 Ethereum, worth about $23.56 million. So not the first purchase that this company, SharpLink, has made in the past few weeks. The company has reclaimed its spot as the publicly traded company with the largest Ethereum stash in the world after it purchased 79,949 Ethereum some days ago to bring its total to 360,807 Ethereum, worth about 1.3 or so billion dollars. For the latest purchase, SharpLink's total haul is around that 480,000 Ethereum, worth that 1.65 total billion at the current prices. Well done, SharpLink. Let's see who else is going to start to pick up on this trend as well. Vicky.
Yeah, must be nice. And you know who's going to be busy with all those Ethereum purchases are miners. So this is an interesting story. Top-notch Crypto has unveiled an app to turn a smartphone into a crypto mining machine, which is not new, but they've made it easier. So Top-notch Crypto, the world's leading cloud mining platform, has launched a new mobile app that redefines passive income. So with this mobile app, users can earn popular cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Dogecoin, Solana, Litecoin without any technical knowledge or expensive equipment. So normally you need lots of computers, lots of processing power, but now you can use your smartphone to mine crypto. So whether you're a novice or an experienced investor, you can earn daily passive income through top-notch crypto. And that could be the wave of the future because everyone has a smartphone. So everyone might be able to mine crypto and just get some passive income now. We might delve a little bit deeper into that story on our next happy hour hangout, just so
And by
everyone
delving
can get a
deeper,
little bit.
sorry, I thought you meant downloading the app and starting to mine passively, because maybe that's something we should all be doing. And I agree with
Yes.
you, Vicky. We saw it at the Bitcoin 2025 convention that was in Vegas earlier this year. There were a lot of mining rigs around. And no, we're not talking about these container-sized ones that you do get, but there are a lot of these smaller devices, and people are starting to look at other forms of passive income. HODLFire is a great way to earn a passive income, as it's scalp trading as well, while you're waiting for long-term positions to hold out, as our current students on the live foundational course are currently saying. But for the one last crypto headline news, and this is more bullish news as well, especially if you're with Visa. Visa has added more stablecoin support and has also tapped Stellar and Avalanche chains as well. So Visa, the world's second largest card payment organization, Go Visa, announced that it's adding support for two additional USD-backed stablecoins to blockchains and the Euro-backed EURC coin as well. The company has partnered with Paxos, a big name in the crypto space, which will bring two additional stablecoins to its roster: the global dollar, USDG, as well as PayPal USD, PYUSD. In addition to already supporting the Ethereum and Solana blockchains, the new additions include Stellar and Avalanche. Moreover, the variety of stablecoins increases with an inclusion of Circle stablecoin EURC as well. We know Circle is big USDC. So as global adoption grows, as we start to see a lot of institutions and big names and also credit card companies, not just crypto blockchain credit cards, but these big international ones have been around a long time as they're starting to adopt it and opening up crypto to more and more people globally. So we'll keep you updated on that as maybe the world's largest card payment organization might be onboarding a lot of those as well. Exciting times. Moving on from the crypto news, we're looking still a little greedy, a little bullish, despite the little bit of a pullback there. Vicky, tell us more.
Yeah, the fear and greed index has actually stayed amazingly above it, well, into the greed still. So it's at 64, which is a little bit of a drop last week of 74. But really, big drop and people have stayed greedy. So that's actually a very good sign for us. It appears traders are still positive despite the pullback, and that is great news for us. So no one's losing their minds. Oh my goodness, the end is nigh. So I think everyone is happy. And as we can see there, that you'll just talk about, Bitcoin is rallied up from its low of last week. Mm,
Absolutely. Filled that CME gap, found support. Let's actually have a look
mm.
at what is exactly happening in the charts in the market at the moment, kicking off with Bitcoin on the 1 day chart. So we did see that it did manage to fill. That green dotted line, just FYI, is where the current price is, $114,506.15. And finding some great support. How do we know that? Because we can see it. And this is one of the great advantages of having and understanding the HODLNOTS indicator. Currently, let's just do that for the moment. Showing great support. We're in a great position to be trading. Fairly bullish. Great trend upwards. Look at that go. Look at that 200 moving average go. Really great to see. Bringing back into one of our other favorites as well, the HODL fire indicator. All right, we're waiting for, can't wait, waiting for the pivot bottom to come in along with a buy tag, just to confirm that we have indeed reached some support. That should come in a day or two or three. Let's see. Hopefully, this is the low for the next forever. All right, and only onwards and upwards from here. We did mention that in the crypto headlines, there was some speculation around potentially hitting around 104,000. Let's hope that doesn't happen, because once that does happen, if it does head down there, unfortunately, we're probably going to see a lower test in and around there, which we don't want at all. But for the moment, let's have a look at what's happening in the altcoins. There's some great coins been running. A couple of these have been looked at on the HODL fire. Uh, Definitely we'll look at that at some point, especially during the calls during this week. Exciting times. Let's have a quick look at Bitcoin dominance. So yes, it was a bit of a reprieve for its sake. Unfortunately, alts not so much. And we saw as it managed to bounce back up and do some support. Let's do that for the moment. We did see some rejection around that, in and around that 200. So pivot top there. Hopefully that just means it's not going any higher. There is a sell tag confirming that behind. And hopefully it's going to come back down here and eventually break the 60% psychological barrier. And you know what that means? Altcoin bull run is here. Okay. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's deal with the present. This is what we want. We want this to start coming down. So as it starts to come down on the daily, we're going to start to see more and more of these altcoins just start to really run and rally, like we saw a couple of weeks back when it just did this. So let's keep fingers crossed. Always check the Bitcoin dominance on the day. Depending on what kind of time frame you want to be trading on, you might be checking on the 4 hour, the 1 hour, see what that is like. If it's coming down over that time frame, altcoins are probably going to be running as more cash flows into the altcoins than it does with Bitcoin. All right, so fairly positive. I think Bitcoin, we are going to see some sort of reprieve over the next couple of days. Bitcoin's going to kind of find itself. We're going to go sideways for a while as long as we do not drop. The only thing that we do want to drop is Bitcoin dominance. Now, speaking about the week ahead, Vicky, what's happening?
Yeah, as usual, another huge week in the lodge. And that starts off tomorrow, which is Tuesday at 8 a.m. UTC with Wendy's lodge training and trading call. And again, for those of you not, there's a few of you not in the lodge or even a HODL knot. So shame on you for one thing, that when you do become a HODL knot, you will be able to join our den, which is our trading community, our lodge, which is our training community. First call tomorrow, 8 a.m. UTC. Wendy will be training. And then the lodge continues with Tuesday as well. Oh, yep, John
Just a
raised his
heads up for
hand.
those of you, yeah, my hand say hi. Just so you know, the we are looking at Mexi, or at least Wendy's gonna be looking at Mexi, and what all is happening there, especially when it comes to leverage, all right, shorting specifically. And we don't teach that on our courses. We want to make sure that all of you have a good, solid foundation when it comes to entries and exits just going up, normal positive trading, because you are not going to succeed in shorting if you do not understand timeframes and what the indicators are telling you. That is key. So just heads up, we do teach that shorting, but that's only much later once you've done our course. You're in our den, jump on those live calls with Wendy.
That's a really good point. And speaking of learning how to trade the fundamentals, we do have the first of the two weekly calls for those of you that are in the self-paced HODL Knots foundational course and learning or relearning all those foundational elements. And we have, like I said, quite a few seasoned, let's say seasoned HODL Knots now undertaking the course, and they're loving it. So the calls are always fun. We have them every Tuesday and Thursday. And there's new people, there's seasoned HODLNOTs all together learning or relearning the foundation. So you can use the HODL fire, you can use the leverage, you can use scalping, you can trade long term. So that is going to happen on Tuesday as the first of our call. And then, as John was showing, the HODL fire, there will be a HODL fire call on Wednesday. So John will be hosting it, and it is at 12 p.m. UTC on Wednesday. And for those of you who have a HODL fire subscription, there's always great information. He did a little bit of a teaser. He started to actually, that's nope, and then stopped. So you will find out more about which altcoins we're running and also how to trade Bitcoin on the HODL fire and learn more about Bitcoin dominance on that call on Wednesday. And then on Wednesday, it continues in the lodge with the first of our HODL dot calls. So once you graduate, you get to be, or if you'd like to be, better at scalping. This is a HODL dot challenge. So our Minute Money Masters, you learn how to take $40 and turn it into $2,500, which is a 6,150% gain. And we support you along the way. So you can join the 3M challenge and get on one of those HODL calls. And the first one is at 8 p.m. UTC on Wednesday. And then the busy week continues. It's a very busy week. The second of our 3M challenge HODL calls is on Thursday at 8 a.m. UTC. And that's immediately followed, not by HODLNOTS, but we do have the monthly BTAF token AMA. So for those of you that are involved in BTAF token, that AMA is happening on Thursday this week. And then that's at 9 a.m. UTC. And then also Thursday is the second of our self-paced calls at 12 p.m. UTC. And then between all those calls, and hello if you're on the call, we have lots of calls this week. We have our live HODLNOTS course. This is the second week. So the students have learned all the indicators last week, and now they're actually going to put that in practice this week. So it's a really exciting week. We're actually having a yay or nay. So the HODLNOTS on this call will know what a yay or nay is, and that is actually right after this call. So in a couple weeks, we're going to have new students in the lodge, which is always fun. And then, of course, every week, Marius has his long-term trade report on Thursday at 10 p.m. UTC, where you can learn where the long-term calls, the courses go. No, the tokens and coins are going. So I have a bit of a headache. So long-term coins and tokens are going, and then you can scalp them along the way. So it's a really busy week, of course, and it'll be a bit of fun as well. So
Yeah.
get onto those calls live. That's why we do them.
Plenty of offering here within Bitcoin Trend and Forecast. Lots going on within HODLNOTS with the self-paced course. We've got the large calls, we've got the HODL Fire calls, got some more self-pays. We've got obviously BTAF token and all these other great calls as well. So jump in as many as you can, learn as much as you can, and scalp trade, HODL Fire as much as you can as well. Practice makes perfect. All right. We've got something new apparently as well, Vicky. What's cracking?
Okay, so I'm tapped out on dance moves. Oh, sorry, sad face.
I like the
Because that
pun.
was a little bit of fun. We might bring that back later in the year. But now what we're going to do is a bit of a competition. So what we're starting this week is for however many weeks, we don't know, we're going to give you one letter a week. I'm going to mime it. Woohoo, let's see how we go. So not only do you have to figure out what letter of the alphabet I am miming, but you have to figure out what word that we're actually thinking of. So this week, I'm going to mime a letter. And next week, you're going to be able to guess what word I've just started miming. They're not in any order, so we're not going to be doing the first letter first, the second letter. So they're not in any order. And it's one guess per person. So next week, you're going to get one guess. You don't get to go, oh, this or this or this or this or this. So this week, I'm going to mime a letter. And we're not even going to tell you how long it is. John?
So just for clarification purposes, if, for instance, the final word is HODLNOTS, right? And we give you, well, we mime, an O or an L or whatever it is today. And next week you jump on and you're like, oh, I think it's happy or whatever the word might be or whatever. You can do that. If you manage to guess it correct, you do win the 30-day HODL Fire. But like Vicky said, you only get one guess a week. So let's keep them from apprehension. We were a little bit of HODL charades of sorts. What is the first letter for this contest? And remember, it run for a couple of weeks. It could be 7 weeks, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 3 weeks. Who knows? Let's go.
We're
Oh,
not
is
going
it
to
a
tell you
charade?
how
Oh,
long the word
is
is.
that a
No,
Y?
that's not the
No.
charade. No, no why. Okay, so God help us all. So here we go. This. Hmm,
Okay.
what letter am I doing? Hmm, hmm.
All right, let's see if anybody can
That's
figure
it.
that out. I mean, you could throw the guesses in the Q&A section down below if you like in the meantime, but we've got few seconds left to go. After those online charades, join us next week for the next letter, and if you'd like to guess as well. But what is the weekly thought going ahead?
Oh, okay. So if we're not meant to have midnight snacks, why is there a light in the refrigerator?
True story. Catch us all next week again, Monday, or all the other calls that we're doing this week as well. But we'll catch you next week for the HODLNOTS Weekly warm up one more time with more crypto headlines next later in that and so much more. Thanks for joining all of us. We'll catch you guys and girls all on those calls. There we go. All right, keep on practicing. We'll catch you guys next week. Otherwise, soon. Take care. Bye bye.